An ion is a former atom that now has at least one fewer or at least one additional electron, leaving the former atom with a net positive or net negative charge. Let's go take a look at a hydrogen atom. In the center case, we have the atom. We have a positive proton, positive electric charge proton in the center, surrounded somewhere in this yellow region with a net electric charge electron. Now the entire charge of the entire atom is one positive charge from the proton plus one negative charge from the electron, or one positive plus one negative equals 0. So the atom on the periodic table has a net charge of 0. All the elements on the periodic table are atoms. They have a net charge of 0. But if you add or subtract electron or electrons, you turn that atom into an ion. Let's first look at the case where we remove an electron. Remember, you can remove 1 or 2 or 3. You can remove several electrons and still create an ion. Let's go see how that is done. So here's our neutral atom. We have one positive proton in the nucleus with one electron somewhere around the nucleus, leaving the entire atom with a net 0 charge. If we remove the electron, the only thing we're left is the proton. So the atom is just a positively charged object. And since it's not neutral anymore, we have a hydrogen that is left in a positive charged state. So you'll see H positive, indicating we have an ion. And this has a special name. We call this a cation. Let's go the other way. If we take our atom and instead of removing the electron, we add another electron, so we're left with a positively charged proton in the center. We have one positive in the center, and each of the electrons has a negative charge, same number but opposite sign. The net, if we add this all up, the net is going to equal one positive plus one negative plus one negative, and that's going to be left with a negative 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0, minus 1 is negative 1. So the net charge is negative 1. So you'll see a hydrogen with a little minus sign indicating that the state that's left is this net charge. And we call this an anion. Cation with a positive, anion with a negative. Both of these are examples of ions. You can have an ion by the removal of electron or the addition of an electron. Let's say the atom has 2 electrons in its nucleus. Well, then you can remove 2 or add 2. Remove 1 or add 1. Whenever you change the electrical net charge of the atom, it now becomes an ion. So you can see in here in our notation, we call H positive when there is a net positive charge of +1 in the whole atom. In this case, we removed an electron. In this case, we added an electron. We left a net charge of -1. And you'll see the H minus sign, H for indicating it was once a hydrogen atom, and now we turned it into an ion with the special name of anion.